The next in the row will be that tail that has a feather-like movement, for which we are going to take advantage of the class physics. And making that feather-like tail is going to be a little tricky, but don't worry, I will cover everything. So come over here, shift right click to bring the 3D cursor over here. Then shift A, in the curve, add a Bezier curve. And make sure you are in the side view. Set the rotation X on 90 and also rotation Z on 90. And increase the scale, I guess the scale X, yeah. Increase it to somewhere around 10. Let me move it a little bit. Yeah, this is fine. Then go into edit mode and make sure these two vertices are selected. Press S, Z and 0. Maybe SY0, yeah, SY. Now make sure the pivot point is set on individual origins. Press S to shrink down the handles. This is better now. Make sure both of the vertices are selected. Right click to subdivide. Select the new vertex and move it up, like so. Here seems nice. We can of course select this vertex, press R to rotate it and make a better curve. Also with this one. And to make some variations, we can move this one down a little bit, something like this. Yeah, this seems really fine. So this curve will be our reference, which will help us block out our tail. So to start, shift A and add a plane, R, Y 90. Then go into wireframe to have a better look. Match the plane rotation to the rotation of the curve. This seems nice, and let me bring it at the beginning of the tail. Then drastically decrease the scale of the plane. Then press SY to scale it up on its local Y-axis. This seems nice. Now we can go into edit mode, select this edge, press E to extrude and try to follow the curve. Then if needed, you can press R to rotate it so that you can follow the curvature. And continue the same process until you cover the entire curve. And here is a tip. Don't try to make more than 20 faces. I realized that 20 faces makes a good result. So done. Now we can delete the curve and select the feather tail and rename it to feather tail. And press M to move it to a new collection and call it again feather tail. Now let's give it some thickness. So in the modifiers panel, give it the Solidify modifier. Could thicken it even more. This seems nice, and we don't need any offset, so set it on 0. Right click to shade auto smooth. And by the way, if your Solidify modifier is not working properly, it should work like this. That's because you should apply the scale of it. So press Ctrl A to apply the scale. I have done it before. Then also enable even thickness to be just sure. And now let's smooth it out. So after the Solidify, give it a subdivision modifier by level of 2 for both viewport and render. Or if you think it needs more, try 3. Yes, 3 is much better, or even 4. But since we are going to use the class physics, it will be really hard for our viewport. So you can set the levels for the viewport on 2 and render on 4. Now we can go ahead and turn it into a feather by the help of the class physics. So go to the physics panel and give it the class. Most of the setting is just fine, and if you ever worked with the class physics, you know how straightforward it is. So quality steps on 5 is fine. Let's double up the speed multiplier, set the vertex mass on 0.6, which makes it heavier, and a really important property for our feather is air viscosity. So let's set it on 5. And if you hover your mouse on any of these properties, there will pop up a small menu which gives explanation about every property, which is really nice. And it says air has normally some thickness which slows falling things down. So we have multiplied by 5. And the rest of the setting is just fine. But now if we play, our class just falls down. So to see what we have for the time being, let's add a force and see the result. So Shift S, cursor toward origin, Shift A in the force, add a wind. Move it up, press RX, hold down the control key and rotate it by 90 degrees so that it will be facing toward the feather tail. Then to adjust it, go to the physics panel and drastically increase the strength. 500 could be fine. Now let's play. We have a feather which is not feathering at all, and it keeps falling down. But we have a slightly bit of class simulation, as you can see. But don't worry, we are going to remedy that. And to prevent that from acting like this, we can take advantage of the shape property, where we can introduce a pin group. So let's quickly make one. Go into Edit Mode, then head over to the Object Data panel. And here you can see the vertex group. Click on this plus icon to make a group and rename it to pin group. So it basically works like this. If we select a few faces over here, like these three, and assign them to this vertex group and introduce it in the shape property as a pin group, these three faces will work as a pin which will hold the rest of the class and prevent them from falling down. And these three faces won't behave like a class. They will be static in one place, like I said, a pin. So let's press A to select all of them and assign them to this pin group. And I'm pretty sure you may ask why. Later you will find out. For me, this took ages to realize it. Click on Assign to assign all these faces to this pin group, and then go back into Object Mode. Then in the shape, introduce our pin group. Now if we press play, it won't fall down. But since we have added all the existing faces into the vertex group, well, our feather is not feathering at all. So to fix that, we can use the great power of the weight paint. So from here, switch the viewport into the weight paint. And as you can see, it is totally red, which means all the faces will be affected through the vertex group. But we need the vertex group to affect the feather in a gradient-like manner, meaning from the right side where the feather will be connected to the main body, it has the highest effect, meaning it is red and the class physics doesn't work. And as the weight paint moves towards the left side, it slightly turns into a blue color. Blue means the vertex group doesn't have any effect on it and it will work as a class or the same feather. So let's quickly remedy that. The setting is just fine, and for the first step, we need to set the weight on 0. Then increase the radius a lot. Let me go into side view, and with a weight of 0, click on the mesh a few times to turn it into complete blue. Which means now the vertex group doesn't have any effect on this mesh. And it also means that this entire mesh is class and there is no pin right now. So enough explanation and let's just do it. Set the weight on 1, which means the red color. Then if needed, move back and forth to set your paintbrush like this. The cursor must be on the right side of the mesh and the radius border should be at the other end, which is the left side. And we just need to click on the mesh just once. And there it goes. This is just exactly what we were looking for. See what a nice gradient we have here. And this will come really handy, just believe me. Just wait for a few seconds. And if I want to explain the entire process, it takes more than a day. But let's just say that you have learned it. Now let's make some duplicates. So press Ctrl Tab and go into Object Mode. And for the time being, let's go into Modifiers panel and disable all the modifiers. Then let's set it exactly on the y-axis. So go to the Object panel and set the x location on 0 and also the z rotation on 0, I guess. Yeah, it is working pretty fine. Now we can go into Edit Mode, select the first face, press Shift S, cursor to selected. Now to take advantage of this 3D cursor, set the pivot point on 3D cursor and then transform orientation on global. Press A to select all the faces, then press Shift D to make a duplicate of them. Don't touch anything, press R, Z and type down 5. Then accept it. So what we just did was only one action, and if we press Shift R, we can repeat that last action. And let's make 5 duplicates. Now for the other side, select one of the faces of the first feather. Then press Ctrl L to select all the adjoining faces. Press Shift D, R, Z, and this time -5. Now let's make 5 duplicates over here. Now we can jump back into object mode, and there it goes. Now let's enable all the modifiers. Now if we play, it may seem it is working properly, but believe me, it is not working properly. Go to the first frame, then in the modifiers stack, make sure the class modifier is on top. Now if we press play, this is how it is working properly. However, to really see the effect, we need to make an animation for it. So make a keyframe for the Z location, and you don't need to follow this part. I just want to show you. Open a new window here and switch it into Graph Editor. Select the Z location keyframe that we just made, which is this one. Enable normalize to have a better look. Then in the modifiers, give it the noise modifier. Let's set the scale and strength on 10. And then just play. Now you can see how it works. Of course, the strength is just too much, but anyway, it is really nice to watch it. So you get the idea. And this feather is going to be parented to this main body. So you get the idea how it works. We make an animation for the main body and it will affect our feather like this, while the legs or the arms are running. It is going to be really nice. Now let's connect this feather to the main body. So we need to add another port. Let's select the port front, Shift D to make a duplicate and move it over here. And slightly decrease the dimension, or maybe more. Here it seems nice. Rename it to port feather. Shift S, cursor to selected. Select the feather, Shift S, selection to cursor. Then with it selected, Shift select the port feather, Control P, object keep transform. Now if we select the main body, there you have it. What could be better than that? Now let's start animating the different parts of this bird.